I have a basic question. When cleaning a pen, when is it clean enough? After using a purple ink and cleaning with a large number of bulb syringe flushes, I was still able to see some purple color either on my cloth or after redipping the pen in water a moment later. Do I need to keep flushing it until completely clear? How many syringefuls does that take? Is the answer different if you go to re-ink the pen with a different color versus shelving it as part of a pen rotation? Okay, so the answer is, you know, do whatever you want. Like, okay, so if you're just cleaning the pen and you're going to ink it up with the same ink, like it's a good idea to do that once a month or so. If you got one pen that you're using regularly, you're going to use that, and like junk is going to get in there. You're going to have paper fibers and dust and stuff. Like, you create static electricity when you write with your pen, so a lot of junk attracts to it. So even if you're using the same ink over and over again, junk builds up in that bead, and it's good to flush and clean it out every month or so. So if you're doing that, if you're going to be cleaning it out and inking it up with the exact same ink, you really don't have to be that careful at all. You take a bulb syringe and one flush with a bulb syringe will be plenty there. You know, and then take a paper towel, touch it to the feed, kind of just wick out everything else, ink the pen back up, you're good to go. That's all you need for that situation. If you're going to be using a different ink color that's similar, like say I'm using a blue and I'm going to be using a purple, there's a lot of blue in purple, I'm not going to be super like anal retentive about cleaning that thing out. I'm still going to clean it and try and get it good, but I'm not going to be ridiculous unless it's like an ink that I know is not compatible with others. Like if I have a Bay State blue kind of situation, that's a very different formulated ink than conventional inks, so you don't want to mix those together. That's kind of situation where you really want to clean it thoroughly, even if it's a similar color. But you know, if you're using a somewhat similar color, if you're going from one brand's blue to another brand's blue, you don't have to be as diligent about cleaning it out necessarily. The kind of situation where you really will want to clean it out thoroughly is when you're kind of crossing those known incompatible brands, or if you are changing colors drastically, like especially if you're going from a dark to a light. Like if I have a purple in my pen and I'm going to a orange or a yellow, I'm going to make sure that purple is really out of there, okay? So to answer your question specifically, if you're flushing it and color is still coming out, that means there's still ink in the pen. You need to keep going with it, man. So that's the situation. If it takes 500 flushes, it's not going to take that, but that's what you do. You get the thing clean. That's kind of how it goes. You got to keep cleaning it. The bulb syringe helps tremendously. 6 to 10 flushes though, that should be clean after that. When you're running into that kind of situation, that to me tells me there's ink hanging up somewhere in the feed or around the nib of that pen that the flushing is not necessarily getting it through. The way that pens work in general, you know, is you're going to have a filler hole that's going to be in a separate place than where the ink actually comes out in the tip. So what happens when you're flushing, you're really forcing a lot of ink out through there. You're forcing it back out through the filler hole for the most part. It's going to run over and around the feed and stuff like that, but there's going to be nooks and crannies up in the feed and all that kind of thing, where if you're just doing a fast blast, a flush through there, may not get some of those nooks and crannies right away. So you may want to try flushing it a little bit slower. You may want to try soaking the pen in water a little bit. Or you may want to, if the pen's got a removable nib, a lot of times that helps tremendously, because that's where the ink hangs up a lot of the time, is around the feed in the grip section. So if you take and you can pull the nib and feed out of there, if it's friction fit or easy to do, then you can just like flush water directly out of there. You can flush the nib and the feed out themselves. That will cut down your time tremendously. And it's going to vary by pen as far as doing that, but you know, doing that kind of thing helps you get to know your pens a little bit better, and so on. So that's kind of where I stand with that.